What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Hillside Club. I'm James Martin III. Sitting alongside me is Rob Cardini. Man, it is March.
Oh, yeah.
It is March. The first round of the NCAA tournament is tomorrow. I can't wait to just, kick my feet up and watch this first round, man. There's going to be so many amazing matchups. And as you guys can see, we've got our brackets behind us. And I picked Arizona, as I did a few weeks ago. Rob obviously picked the UConn Huskies. And we are going to break down these brackets for you guys in this next segment. So check this out. It is March. We've been talking about March since the show dropped.
Oh, yeah.
Since the show dropped.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
we're standing. Like, we're ready. I'm loose.
It's time for some madness.
Let's go,
Time
man.
for the first ever perfect bracket, courtesy of me. So I think we should just hop right into it, start making our picks.
We're going to go with the Arizona Wildcats to win it all.
Give me the Huskies, baby.
All right, we have filled out our brackets. As you can see, I have picked the Arizona Wildcats to win it all this year.
I got the Huskies taking it home, and they reign victorious once again. So let's get right into it. Starting off, East region, some of the highlights of my East region. Obviously, UConn coming out of it, but only really one main upset for me. I got USF taking down Louisville. Don't really love Louisville much as a team. I know UCLA, very common pick this year to kind of make a little run. They're running into the Huskies. Second round matchup, round 32. I think that St. John's Kansas game, the coaching matchup, absolutely insane. Got Kansas pulling that one out just really because of Darren Peterson. I think Badunga can do enough for Zuby. And then as for Duke, I think Duke shows its dominance throughout until they face UConn. And I think that's really where we see that injury to Caleb Foster show. So I got UConn coming out the East.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of similarities between me and Rob's East region. I think the only difference we have here is I am going against what it seems like the public is picking South Florida to win this game. And I feel like this is a game that everyone's going to expect to be an upset, and it goes the other way. So I just went with Louisville. And then, everything is pretty straightforward. UConn, UCLA, Duke. I got TCU over Ohio State. I'm not a big fan of the Big Ten in this year's tournament. And I don't think, unless I see something in the future that shows me better from the Big Ten, I'm just going to stay that way. But yeah, and then we got Kansas, St. John's. I think Kansas has just got the better team offensively, and that's going to be why they beat St. John's. And then, Duke, Kansas, going to be a great matchup. Don't know what's going on with Darren Peterson, these full body cramps, and I just think Duke is just too well built. But on the flip side, we got UConn, Michigan State. Obviously, I'm going to take UConn. I think they are a little bit more experienced. And they're coming off of a really nasty loss versus St. John's. So that's my pick. And then I got UConn over Duke. Kind of the same with Rob. I just think, that injury to Caleb Foster definitely hurts. And then, look, they're a younger team. And I think that's when experience is really going to come in play. So I got UConn winning the East region. And then, now we're going to move over to the South region, where this is a pretty straightforward region, I believe. I don't think there's going to be much upsets here. Florida, Clemson, Vandy, Nebraska. I don't think I have a single upset here. And yes, I know there probably will be. I know a lot of people like to see Nebraska, Troy, but I think it's pretty straightforward. And then, I think St. Mary's over Texas A&M is essentially like an upset. But hey, the committee thinks differently. Florida, Vandy, I think that's going to be a really great matchup in the Sweet 16. I got Florida again in their lick bag. And then Illinois, Houston. As great as Illinois is, they got a lot of European pieces. They play a different brand of basketball from the rest of the Big Ten. Give me Houston because they're made for March. They do all the little things right. Made for March. I don't know about April. Give me Houston over Illinois. And then you got Florida, Houston. Like I said, Houston is built for March, and I think they get the best of Florida. They have a lot to prove, and it's a really strong and aggressive team out there in Houston. So give me the Cougars.
Yeah, my South region, I know James kind of touched on it. A lot of people looking at Troy over Nebraska. I am one of those people. I do think that Troy does get the best of Nebraska. I just don't think Nebraska has shown them much. They started off the year hot, but have cooled down since. I think Troy's able to outshoot them. They pull off that 13-4 upset. I got VCU taking down North Carolina as well. I have not liked what North Carolina has looked like ever since that Caleb Wilson injury. They have looked like a completely different team. They don't look like a good basketball team, in my opinion. So I got them losing first round. I think VCU is playing better as of late. Everything else pretty much the same. I got Florida heading to the Elite Eight versus Houston. I called Houston frauds earlier this year, but they play just a suffocating brand of defense. So I'm going to just go with Houston to come out of the South region.
All right, and I think now we're going to move on to our West regions. If you want to go first, Rob.
Yeah, sure. So obviously, dominant team, maybe the most dominant team or well-rounded team all year, Arizona. I got them, advancing pretty far. I got Utah State beating Villanova in what is an upset. I don't even know if I would really call it a true upset. I think if it weren't for them being in the Mountain West, they'd probably even be seated a little bit higher. I got Wisconsin and Arkansas facing off in the round of 32. Probably the best round of 32 game we'll get. That game could go either way, but I like Acuff, like Calipari. Give me Arkansas in that round 32. This portion of the bracket right here is the worst on the entire bracket. Don't really like any of the teams in this scenario, but I had BYU coming out of that portion just because of Devonta. I think he's the best player right now in the country. Acuff would probably be number 2, but I just think the size of Devonta helps a little bit more. So I'll go with BYU to come out of that region. I saw a stat about Purdue that they're number 1 in adjusted offense, but outside the top 25 in adjusted defense. And teams going into the tournament with those stats have never made the Final Four, I believe, and really struggled to make the Elite Eight. Saw that, so I'm going to fade Purdue there and definitely fade Gonzaga. I'm tired of hearing about if Huff will come back. He's not on the team right now, so that's a good enough reason for me.
Yeah, I believe Rob and I's West region is literally identical. I think the only game that's different for us is Villanova, Utah State, and I think Villanova has a little chip on their shoulder. A lot of people are talking about the Big East being weak, and they're only got 3 teams into the tournament this year, which is kind of different from past years.
Mm-hmm.
And them being that third team, I don't know, a little chip on their shoulder. I haven't been able to watch enough of Utah State, but what I have been able to watch is Villanova, and their end of the season surge. I like it. So give me Villanova over Utah State. I feel like that's going to be a great game, as those 8-9 games always are. But yeah, I like BYU going all the way to the Elite Eight. Like, I feel like Devonta is going to have himself a tournament, man. And yeah, like Rob said, this bracket, it's not special. This side of the bracket is really not special. I do like Arkansas. Calipari. I love what he's doing over there. But, hey, I mean, BYU, we're going to see some moments out of Devonta. Arizona, though, I think that Arizona is just so strong. Like, they are built well on all facets. They defend well. They get out in transition. They have older guards. They have younger guards. They have, a great big man. I feel like this is everything you need in March, and that's why I got Arizona winning the West.
And then down to the Midwest, I got Michigan obviously advancing. I got them beating St. Louis. I got St. Louis beating Georgia. I think St. Louis just outshoots Georgia. I think they're playing better at the right time. Texas Tech, Akron, a lot of people saying, are the Akron Zips going to pull off an upset versus Texas Tech because of injuries? I don't really see it. My upset, and, I got a couple upsets in this portion of the bracket. I think Hofstra takes down Alabama. I just think there's a lot of distractions going on in Alabama right now. I also don't love their style of play come the tournament, just chuck up threes, fast paced. Feel like that always bites them in the end. So I'm going to go with Hofstra on the upset. Another upset, Tennessee. I think SMU wins tonight. I think SMU wins versus Tennessee. They say you should always take one of those first 4 teams. SMU is my team there. Virginia, I think they handle business. I got Santa Clara beating Kentucky. I didn't watch many Kentucky games this year, but when I did, I wasn't impressed at all. I'll take Santa Clara. I think they're going to take advantage of that opportunity in the tournament. Iowa State, I got them handling business, and I think they match up with Michigan in the Elite Eight. And to me, I don't love the Big Ten. I just simply don't. I just don't think the guard play from Michigan is good enough. I think Iowa State can overwhelm them offensively at times, and I just think Iowa State finds a way to get it done. Big on the Big 12 this year, really am.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, I got Michigan. Hey, St. Louis, I think they're going to beat Georgia. Pretty well knit team. They shoot the ball really well, and they also have played together a little longer than you see normally in this current, climate or landscape of college basketball with the transfer portal, NIL. So I feel like they'll be able to take down Georgia. Take down Texas Tech. Really weird spot right now. They're losing. They've lost JT Toppin. They've lost two of like their best players, but I think they'll be good enough to get a good W versus Akron. And then we got Alabama over Hofstra. I think even with Max Holloway and what's going on with him, and I believe he got arrested, and we don't know. There's a lot of questions in the air. I still think that Alabama team is too talented to go out there and lose to Hofstra. And hey, shout out to Long Island, the two Long Island teams in the tournament in LIU and Hofstra. So shout out to Island. And then we got SMU. I'm picking SMU to win tonight versus Miami, Ohio, and then to beat Tennessee. I even got them going to the Sweet 16. So they got some NBA talent on that roster. They're sneaky good. I think they can make a run. This is my Cinderella of the tournament. I don't think there's going to be any really big Cinderella runs. And then I got Iowa State, obviously, over Tennessee State, Santa Clara over Kentucky. Really weird spot for Kentucky. Really weird spot to see Calipari go over to Arkansas and win the SEC. Like, I don't know how Kentucky fans feel about it, but I feel like they're going to get a rude awakening against Santa Clara. And then we get down to the Sweet 16 Elite 8. Texas Tech, I have them beating Bama because we don't know really what's going on with Holloway in Alabama. And Texas Tech is a Big 12 team that's been battle tested all year. So it's just next guy up for them. And I think their next guy up is better than Alabama's. Michigan is going to be Texas Tech for me. Michigan is Michigan. They've been amazing. And then Iowa State, I think their shooting is just too lights out for SMU. Then we got Michigan, Iowa State. Give me Michigan. I think they have a lot to prove. They just, got a bad taste in their mouth, losing to Purdue the way they did. Mm-hmm. And then, so that's my final four. I got Arizona, Michigan, Houston, UConn. I'm going to start with why I picked Arizona over Michigan. Like I said before, I just think Arizona has it all. And I think it comes down to who has it all and who's, stronger in all facets. I think Arizona has some of the best guard play in the nation. And the one weakness about Michigan is their guard play. It's just a little inconsistent. It can be great. Don't get me wrong. It can be great. The thing about Arizona is it's always consistent. They have four guys in Karchenkov, Del Orso, Bradley, Burris that can just step in and make shots happen and make stuff happen for the team. So give me Arizona. And then on the other side, I've got Houston versus UConn. Hey, I said it, and I've said it. Houston, big March team. They do everything right. And I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of great things that I've seen out of the past UConn teams. There's just a few things I just don't like, and I feel like they get a little one-dimensional sometimes. And I feel like Houston will be able to take that to their advantage. So I got Houston in the national championship over Arizona.
Yeah, my final four, I feel like you talked enough about Arizona. I think you kind of said it all. Just a very well-rounded team. I think they, Big 12 matchup versus Iowa State. I definitely think that I think Iowa State can be a little inconsistent shooting at times. And because of that, I think, Arizona doesn't rely on, high percentage shooting as much as, other teams. I just think more depth. I'll go with Arizona. There's a reason that they've stayed, so high up in the rankings the entire season. And then on the other side, UConn, Houston. Houston, to me, is just – this is where they kind of cap out, where, down the stretch, they're in a slower pace game, maybe an ugly game. They need some shots. I don't think they get them to fall. I got UConn moving on to the national title game. I guess I'll just jump right into my national title game. You talked about how there were some things with UConn that scared you. And I'm not going to lie, that game versus St. John's did scare me a little bit. But the good news is they don't have to play St. John's again. They don't have to play anyone in the Big East again. UConn plays better out of conference. They have Dan Hurley. Arizona does not have that. Arizona does not have Braylon Mullins. I think this is a legacy run for Braylon Mullins. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. I think UConn gets their lick back on Arizona after losing to them early in the season, and UConn is victorious again in the national basketball.
I will say, if it's an Arizona UConn matchup in the final, I can understand picking UConn. It's hard to beat a team twice out of conference. However, I got a little different. I think it's going to be a Big 12 year, Big 12 national championship game. I got the Wildcats over the Cougars, 2 Big Cats. But hey, I mean, the Big 12 has been amazing all year. Big Mondays, like it's been the best day of basketball of the year, all year. I'd rather watch a Big 12 Monday than watch a primetime NBA game, and this is factual. So, give me Arizona. Hey, I've said Houston. They're a huge March team. They do everything right in March. However, the national championship game is on April 6th. March is over. They are in an NFL stadium. If they can't shoot versus, other Big 12 talent at their home arena and on the road in the Big 12, I don't know what's going to happen over there in Lucas Oil Stadium. So give me Arizona to win it first. Houston, they finally get it done. They get back to, finally proving themselves that they are the team that we all know they could be and winning it all in Indianapolis. So Arizona Wildcats and Bryce James get it done.
So those are March Madness picks. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let us know who you have winning it all and any Cinderellas that you guys see in this year's tournament.
Also, we're going to throw in our tournament challenge link.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you guys join that in the description. We want to see who's going to have the best bracket. Maybe we'll send you guys some merch, whatever it is. Shout out on the pod, but definitely join our tournament challenge.
Yeah, no doubt. Another tournament that actually just finished up last night, the World Baseball Classic. Venezuela takes down the U.S. in the final. Pretty disappointing end for the United States team, who got gifted, a way into bracket play with Italy clutching up for them after losing to Italy. Then Italy goes on to beat Mexico, gives U.S. a second chance. Take advantage of it to some degree, but don't fully take advantage of it. And, we're both Yankees fans. Aaron Judge catching a lot of heat in this tournament. And, I just want to say this. I think that Aaron Judge deserves some of the hate he's getting for this because time and time again, he does come up short in these big moments. And it's like, all right, Judge, like when are we going to see, that moment where we kind of got it, versus the Blue Jays in the playoffs. But even so, like you just kind of, you as a fan, if you can see it through the TV where it almost looks like he's getting tense up there in these bigger moments and you see him missing fastballs and pitches that he just doesn't miss in the regular season. If you can see that as a fan, it's so painful to watch because you want him to break through. But what I will say about this is, if you are single-handedly blaming Aaron Judge, you're a moron because the entire U.S. lineup disappeared for a game and a half, essentially. Bryce Harper obviously hits the home run. After the 2 home runs in the semifinals game by Gunnar Henderson and Roman Anthony, the lineup stunk elsewhere. Judge was a foot away from a home run in that game. He makes some great defensive plays in that game. The manager blows the end of the final. Like, it's not all on Aaron Judge. So let's calm down on Aaron Judge. James, your thoughts on the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody ever deserves any sort of hate. Judge has been a standout guy. Like, he's been an amazing role model for a lot of guys in the MLB, I feel like. And he's been a great captain for the Yankees. However, I understand where the criticism comes from. And it feels like when there's a big moment to be had, he falls short a lot. And I feel like we spoke about it a few episodes ago, and we were both at that game, that verse, I believe it was the Blue Jays, where that home run, that go-ahead home run off the foul pole, which was an amazing moment. And we were finally, yes, Judge had his moment. And I kind of said it in the last episode, where I hope, Judge is able to continue to show that he's clutch. Didn't happen in this tournament. However, like you said, it's not all on him.
Mm-mm.
It's not. This team was crowned and dubbed the Avengers. They were called the Dream Team, which was they really are. You go up and down that lineup. Those are all-stars all throughout there. MVPs. I mean, they lost more than I think just that championship game, but they lost baseball in a sense. I feel like this tournament is going to be so big for baseball going forward. Mm-hmm. And I hate the way the U.S. approached this tournament. Like Tariq Skubal, he leaves to go back and pitch with the Tigers, and that just it looks terrible when you watch the passion that all these other nations played with and the emotion. I think I've heard multiple times in this tournament that guys were saying, this means more to me than a World Series does. And I understand it. Playing for your nation, it means more. I think Ronald Acuna Jr. said it last night. He said he loves the Braves and he always will, but he was Venezuelan before he was an Atlanta Brave. Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as that. And that's where that pride comes from. And I feel like the approach the U.S. had, it really showed. And obviously you see the discourse online and everyone's talking about how, the U.S. doesn't have any flair and why don't these guys celebrate the way they, like these other teams do. And, like last night, I guess there was or 2 nights ago in the Italy game, Venezuela, they're celebrating their behinds off. Like a hit. They're out the dugout, right? Yeah. Little things like that. And, just from playing sports my whole life, people don't understand how energy, you feed off of energy and momentum. That happens. And we're talking about March and March Madness. That's one tournament where you see energy is picked up, not only from bench players or coaches, but an arena can literally juice up a team. And I just hate the way the U.S. approached it. And we got guys leaving the team. We got the manager not knowing that they could be eliminated, and they almost got sent home. Just a terrible approach from Team USA. I think they lost more than just that game. They lost a lot more.
Yeah, no, it's not a crazy take by any means. It's good for baseball though. Like as bad as it was for the U.S. and I think just for the whole baseball as a whole, it's a great way to kick off the season. I think that this is really going to get a lot of people excited for the baseball season. I think it was John Smoltz that said if you did this during the middle of the season and you just blocked off 2 weeks, 3 weeks of baseball, almost like using the All-Star break, that it would draw even more attention, which is a pretty cool idea. But nonetheless, I think it was great for baseball. Tariq Skubal, I don't know. I can't. He says it's about for the Tigers, he wants to limit injury risk. I don't fully understand that because when he goes to spring training, he's going to be pitching anyway. Aren't you gonna? I feel like when you're an athlete, you approach. As an athlete at that level, you approach everything the same. He's not going to approach maybe the juice and the energy of a World Baseball Classic game is higher, so maybe you're throwing a little bit harder, you really feel that intensity, but he's going to prepare the same way he does for any start to minimize injury. So I don't get why he walked away, and to me, like you kind of said, that kind of set it all for the U.S. But nonetheless, congrats to Venezuela. I mean, they were they showed up, they were about it, just it kind of felt like that momentum completely switched to the U.S. after that Harper home run, and they respond right away by tacking on a run and then putting all the pressure back on the U.S.
That's the most fans I think the Miami Marlins stadium has seen.
Oh my gosh.
That was an amazing
atmosphere.
An amazing atmosphere and an amazing event. You talk about Tariq Skubal, he's talking about the Tigers. The Tigers didn't even want to offer him a long-term deal. He had to go and win this in court. I don't understand. And then you got the Cal Raleigh stuff. We can get into it. A lot of just negatives come from this tournament for the U.S. I really do want to point out yesterday they wore the hockey sweaters.
Yeah, that was
into
cool.
the stadium. That was pretty cool. But that
wasn't enough. wasn't enough.
Cool. Nah. So an amazing tournament. I think 10, 15 years from now, it's going to be even bigger, and the sport, this alone will help the sport grow So I mean, this is awesome. And then, like you said, like Venezuela, like you see the videos online of like people celebrating, you know, in the cities in Venezuela, in the streets, just out there, and like that's awesome. That's awesome, and you understand why those guys say what they say. Like it's this tournament is going to really enhance baseball.
Even like the DR team, I know they didn't make it to the finals, but you just see the passion they played with, and it's just like you said, can understand why they want to really represent their home country. One thing I still can't understand, it happened about a week ago now. Bam Adebayo dropped 83 points in a National Basketball Association game. 83 points from Bam Adebayo. Kobe still has the record, in my opinion. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Bam, listen, great for you. 83 is 83. Not in my book. I'm sorry. I can't get over it. I think it was absolutely insane. It was disgusting. I was landing from a plane ride, and I get the alert from Shams. I run to Twitter. I'm seeing that the game was extended. They're up 25. There's fouling going on. It's such a terrible look for this era of basketball. I don't care what way you want to slice it. To me, it is a terrible look for this era of basketball. Jordan would have averaged 50. James, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, I kind of play both sides with this 83 because you watch down the stretch. If you really go and watch like the highlights, or you get to watch like that fourth quarter video that the NBA releases, it doesn't feel right. And I know everyone's talking about what is ethical hoops. And first of all, this is a term that was created with guys, you know, foul baiting and whatnot. I don't think it was ethically right, but at the end of the day, 83 is 83. It's more on the Wizards. It's a shame, a true shame. If the Wizards could, they should be demoted into the G League. The fact that they allowed Bam Adebayo, and again, Bam, an amazing player, great player. He's an all-star. He could be a Hall of Famer one day. But the fact that they let him go out there and drop 83 points on them, it is so disgusting. And the way they were going about it, it shows no respect for the Wizards. And that's, I understand it. I understand it. The Wizards are that bad. But my goodness, like the way they were fouling and
it's gross
down the stretch.
It's gross.
You look at Kobe's 81 points, and he needed those 81 points for them to win that game.
Yeah, I mean,
like, and then he goes on, and after he was on a scoring run.
Yeah.
Bam scored 8 points the following night, I believe.
Yeah, there was some. It was a terrible stat line. It was back to his regular self. And you talk about like, oh, is it ethical hoops, and you know how Kobe might have done it more naturally. You know, that was kind of the argument that every time we see one of these big time scoring games, that they're always forced to some degree.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's necessary. Like this was insanely forced. There's no doubt that teams, you know, try to foul. They try to get their guy more looks. This was not the flow of the game. Like Bam Adebayo, like I don't know. There were a lot of tweets that day that, you know, really just they summed it up great. And I will say I had a couple takeaways. Devin Booker 70, one of the more impressive things that I've seen at 20 years old. Also, someone mentioned that we got to see Steve Kerr allow Steph to take 43s in a game just one time. Just see how many points. Just let Steph just say, you know, I'm going to chuck 43s up this game and see if he can break the record. I think he could do it.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk on the stat line.
Oh, yeah.
43 free throws?
Yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty. I don't...
No, but that's true. It's a microcosm of what is going on with the NBA. The NBA has fully lost the plot.
It has. And I'm about to go on a tangent. I'm getting heated because this made me think of the Shea thing with how he just broke Wilt's 20-point streak. First off, no, he didn't. These point streaks, why don't the playoffs matter? I don't get that. Why do we not include the playoffs in these point streaks? You played the game. Same thing goes for LeBron, 10 points. His point streak broke in the playoffs, but we don't talk about that. The 20-point streak, Shea got held to under 20 points in the playoffs. I don't understand why it's 20 points, right? I'm not tweaking right now.
Yeah.
It was 20-point streak. Yeah. And he had to foul down late in that. There was no reason for him to do so. He had to foul. It's like it is unethical. You wonder why people hate this era. It's because of stuff like this, the way the game is called. And then when you have players leaning into it so much for this stuff, it's like, sure, records are meant to be broken, but like, do it in a better way. And I know it's so like nitpicking, like, oh, like, okay, again, 83 is 83. It was not 83 is 83, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Like, Bam Adebayo does not have the bag for 83 points. He just doesn't. I don't know.
I partially blame ESPN and like the ESPN stat for the way sports, the discourse around sports, and how athletes, try to cement their legacy. Because, growing up, we always hear about the ESPN stat. Only player to average 2 points on a away game where he wears one sock and, mess like that.
Crazy stuff.
But like, this is like I feel like guys are playing for headlines and playing for their legacy more than they're playing for rings. And I understand it. Like, I understand that's the as an individual, that's what you should want, right? Like, you should want to be able to cement yourself, cement your legacy, and establish a foundation for your family to follow through, right? But 20 years ago, it wasn't about, oh, can I average, 20 plus points? Can I average a triple double? Oh, can I average a double double? Can I do this? They just went out there and did it. But then, with the
wonder who started that.
with the development of ESPN and headlines and who's going to be the next Jordan and that stuff, we start tracking. Oh, Kobe, Jordan. We start going like this. And that's kind of, the NBA has leaned into that so much. And you kind of see it in the NFL too. It's always some stat where, oh, we're going to compare Mahomes to Brady. Oh, did he do this? So I feel like the next generation of athletes are kind of just put in a bad spot because so many greats come before them. But it starts with the media too. But hey, the NBA, I don't even know what to speak. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm so happy it's March and March Madness is here because I don't have to watch the NBA anymore for this next month.
Definitely get a nice break.
Right? Like, I feel like watching an NBA game feels like a chore right now. Like, if it's not my Knicks, it feels like a chore. I don't know. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think I saw, what was it, either last night or 2 nights ago, there were 3 30-point blowouts, something like that at one point in the game. Like, that's not good product. Yeah. But nonetheless, that was the NBA. That's Bam. Some other stuff happened across sports world, NFL free agency. So our last episode we recorded the day before really free agency got into it. We're recording. Max Crosby's traded to the Ravens. The day later, the trade gets rescinded. Now Hendrickson is a Raven. Just really crazy stuff. Yeah. A lot of teams made a lot of moves. Steelers made some moves that I really liked out of them. The Giants made a lot of moves that I thought were really solid, but I'm just kind of wondering, James, what was your favorite move of the week for any team? Not just the Giants, but just like the move that you thought was really going to move the needle for that team.
It's a good one. Well, I'm going to start with my Giants pick. I really like that Tremaine Edmonds pickup for the Giants. They just released Bobby Okereke. They needed a linebacker, and then they went on to go get 2 safeties, and then they get Greg Newsome. So they had a lot of great pickups, like you said. Like, that's John Harbaugh has went in there and taken the reins and taken the control of making, GM decisions, kind of demoting Joe Shane. But I love these pickups. Like Tremaine Edmonds, he had a great year with the Bears. Like, we needed an enforcer in the middle of our defense, and hey, I feel like we got one. And they're building pieces on the offensive side. Bunch of pass catchers, Calvin Austin, Isaiah Likely, Darnell Mooney. Like, we've got 3 new pass catchers. The Giants can go out there and play, 22 personnel or 12 personnel, and they can have, 2 tight ends out there, 21. Like, they can have 2 tight ends out there in Likely and Johnson, and Likely turns into like almost a receiver. Right, like that. This is a great pickup for them. This is something that you kind of need on your offense because I guess Johnson's a good blocker, and Likely's a great pass catcher. So I love what the Giants got going on. My favorite pickup, just like of the week. I don't know. Free agency wise, I don't know. A lot of great trades too. Like yesterday, we just had that Waddle trade.
Oh yeah.
So. A lot of great trades. What's your favorite pickup?
My favorite pick was probably some people didn't love this because of the injury concerns. I'm going to assume he's going to be healthy, which I know you can't always do, but Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs. I think they've needed a running back like that. When he's healthy, everybody was kind of like, oh, well, it's, him and Sharp. Like, no, Walker showed that in the playoffs when Sharp went down, Walker carried the load just fine, and he did so exceptionally well, balled out in the Super Bowl. If the Chiefs get the healthy version of Kenneth Walker, that is absolutely huge for that offense because they don't have a real running game. They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in quite some time. So I really like that move for them. And then if I just had to throw out another pick that I also really like, Trent McDuffie to the Rams, I thought was a super, super nice pickup for LA because, I think they saw that game versus the Seahawks. They saw JSN go off and they were like, hey, this is the last thing we need. We just need a shutdown corner. That's what Trent McDuffie does. So I really like that move for them. And, I think both our teams as a whole just really made some nice moves. The Giants, they've been the laughing stock for a long time. No, I wouldn't say the. The was the wrong word. A laughing stock for a little while. No more. I think the Giants are going to be super competitive. I might have a Binks Bowl prediction. We'll give it some time when football season rolls around. But I'm feeling good about the Giants. I really like the Steelers move. Michael Pittman, Jamel Dean. I even like Rico Dowell. They lose Kenneth Gainwell, but they get Dowell, which I really liked. And they signed some other guys in between. So
what's their quarterback situation?
I think a lot of people are just assuming Rodgers comes back. I really do. I think he does too at this point. But he said they didn't offer him a contract. They said they didn't really give him a specific deadline, but the draft's going to be coming up soon in Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn in between that. I don't want to get too. That's a whole separate thing. I don't want to get too.
I'm hearing Howard's. He's a play like that.
I wouldn't mind Will Howard. I wouldn't mind it. I don't want to get too far into it. I don't want to talk about football too much just right now because it's March, and I want to stick to March and March only. And sticking with March, I want to get into my about it of the week, which is March. That's it. It's just March. All I have the past 2 weeks. Just March has brought, some more sun, some warm weather. I was watching the conference tournament for, NCAA basketball, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, this is beautiful. The players, championships on. It was March, that's it. It's just about it of the week, really maybe just about it of the month. March is here, and I'm loving every bit of it. I can't wait for the tournament, see some madness. James, you have an about it of the week this week?
Yeah. I feel like we haven't spoke about, the John Calipari situation, and he's my about it of the week. John Calipari. He is known as a coach who gets the most talent in the NBA, right? You go and take a look at the list of guards and bigs and just players that he's put into the NBA from the front court and the back court, and now he's got another point guard in Darius Acuff, who is going to be a top 3 pick and could be a national player of the year. But, there was a natural breaking point for Calipari in Kentucky, but there was fan expectation, there was pressure, and there's a little bit of inconsistency in the postseason. But how about John Calipari and the Arizona Razorbacks going and winning the SEC tournament? And they're a team that can make a real run.
Mm-hmm.
They can make a real run in March and in the March Madness NCAA tournament. And for him to for Calipari to, on a new opportunity that, he has to reestablish his identity as a coach, he's kind of controlled the narrative. And Kentucky, they were kind of an up and down year for them. I think they're going to get bounced early. And I think Arkansas is going to make a run. The traditional dominance for Kentucky is going to start to fall away because Calipari's gone. And I need to speak about, I don't know how Kentucky fans feel, but for him to be, kind of a fresh voice and leading a program like Arkansas back, to the tournament and being a force, I think is just so, it just speaks volume to the type of coach he is. And then also he's bringing in another 5-star player next year, Abdou Toure, who's actually from Connecticut, who I got to see play against my younger brother last year. The kid was jumping outside the gym. You would have thought he was on a pogo stick. Like I literally don't understand it. He's an amazing player. So shout out John Calipari and Arizona or the Arkansas Razorbacks. This is like unreal. Unreal.
Yeah, no, he's done a great job there. I mean, I know that was kind of the thing in Kentucky, you know, just not enough success, you know, come March Madness. I mean, but even like last year, you know, early on with Kentucky, having to oh my gosh, this is so bad. I'm getting loopy. All these teams March make me crazy. You know, Arkansas, you know, kind of rebuilding the program. Last year, they upset Kansas in the first round. Then they upset St. John's. They're the only team that was seeded lower than a 6 seed to advance to the Sweet 16 last year, and then they lose to Texas Tech, who was one hell of a team. I mean, they're, you know, if Walter Clayton doesn't run into them, who knows what Texas Tech does last year. So, you know, he's building something there, and obviously Acuff's one hell of a player. But yeah, I mean, no, growing up, I used to like John Calipari just used to make me laugh when I was a little kid. He was my dad's like favorite coach out there, and just seeing him, he used to be even more animated than he is now. I remember just him screaming on the sideline, sweating through his shirts. But no, he's a hell of a coach, Hall of Famer, no doubt. And we'll see what they can do here. I mean, they're in, you know, Arizona's region, but a lot of people think if there's a team that can, you know, in that 4 or 5 range that can go on a deep run, it's probably Arkansas. So we'll see what they can do. Not about of the week, something that I didn't like. Really feel like I need to address this, not just for myself, but for everybody out there. Reservations mean nothing. I know it's not sports, but reservations mean nothing nowadays. I don't understand why. And two things about reservations. One, ever since reservations went to apps like OpenTable or Resy, first off, it's impossible to get a reservation anywhere you want to go. You got to make a reservation about 3 weeks in advance. And then you make the reservation so far in advance, you'd think that the table would be ready waiting for you when you go. I can't even count the amount of times I went to Vegas with my family, I went to Arizona. The amount of times the table was not ready. And this is not me saying that it should be ready for me. I'm not special. I completely understand this. This is an argument for all of America. I mean, when I was in Vegas for the expo, there was a table for 12. How is a table for 12 not ready? Why am I waiting 20 minutes? Like, how is this not something that you prepare for? I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I feel like ever since like Resy and OpenTable became a thing, and it wasn't just like you call and make a reservation, reservations mean nothing anymore. Like, you can make the reservation, you're guaranteed at least 5 minutes after your reservation, you're not sitting down. I just don't get it. And again, impossible to even get one. But yeah, it really got me fired up. I don't get it. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, I just feel like it's another cash grab for these companies. You just, you know, pay a little fee to OpenTable, and, you know, we'll make it a seamless process for you with reservations or whatnot. But yeah, I've honestly had a few. When I was in Vegas, I had the same issue. Like, I was sitting there waiting for 20, almost 30 minutes for a reservation. Like, what? I don't understand how that works. But yeah, my not about it of the week, and I feel like I need to get this off my chest though. It's referees, and more specifically umpires. Baseball. You know, I was watching that USA and Dominican Republic game, and there was 2 instances there where the umpire made a terrible strike call on balls that were clearly balls, or pitches that were clearly balls. Clearly. And my whole thing is, we have the technology to cancel out human error in these games, right? In sports. There's been so many times in the history of sports, and you see it a lot in soccer, which is why they had to go to VAR. But you've seen a lot of times in sports, especially basketball, football. The most recent one I thought, which was kind of insane, which was the Rams Saints no PI call. Like, there's been so many times where referees have almost ruined a game or ruined a team's season. And if we can get rid of that, if we have the technology to find a way to get rid of human error in sports on an umpiring side, why not use it? Like, you see VAR in soccer, you see NFL and tennis Hawkeye technology. We have the technology to get balls and strikes right. Why not just use it entirely? Mm-hmm. And I know the whole thing for people is you don't want to, change the ambiance of baseball. Okay, why not we put an earpiece or something in the umpire's ear so that he's still making the calls, but they're right and wrong based on what he's hearing in his ear, right? Because Perdomo honestly had an amazing 8-pitch at bat where he worked it full, and then that ball literally, that pitch literally falls short of the zone. And guess who was up next? Fernando Tatis, who's averaging 400 in the tournament. So I mean, my whole thing is we have the technology, use it. And I'm glad ABS is coming to baseball or MLB this season. I think within the next few years, they need to just fully go to automated umps. Like I know it'll never happen.
Yeah.
I know, old heads and a lot of baseball fans don't want to see that. But I think, why not get it right? What's the purpose of having it right 80% of the time when we can have it right 100% of the time? No?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think, we talked about, just the overall state of, refs, umps, and, we made a clip about it, sent it out, and, some people were like, oh, why don't you go do it then? It's like, we're not asking for, perfection. I'm not perfect. James isn't perfect. We understand that. We understand that they have a hard job. Again, let me preface that in the clip. It's a very hard thing to do. It's split seconds. But like James is saying, when you have the technology we have today, just use it. Like there's no shame in that. Like every other industry is using technology to its advantage, and they don't care if it hurts people's feelings and takes their job. Do so in sports so you have the best product of the field. I completely understand. I completely agree. Kind of surprised you made it your not about of the week though, because I think you got something to get off your chest about the Knicks.
Yeah. Woo! The New York Knicks. First of all, it's been a long 10 days since we last shot an episode. They went out to the West, lost to a Lakers team that didn't have LeBron. And I know a lot of people think the Lakers are better when LeBron doesn't play, and the stats kind of do show that. And then they lost to the Clippers the following night. I've seen a lot out of the Knicks these last 10 days or so that shows me that I have officially put them in the pretender bin. Like I fully, I love them. I want to see them win this an NBA championship. I hope I'm wrong. Like I hope I'm wrong, but they're just things that are unserious, right? And you go online and you see a lot of Knicks fans are talking about Stephen A. Smith's comments on Brunson being at fault for the Bridges trade. Like how do you bring your guy in here and then you lose 5 picks that you could have used to pick up other pieces? And he's averaging 5 points in his last 6 outings.
There's no defending that.
There really isn't. You are our starting small forward. You look at the starting small forwards around the league and what they bring to the table. I understand Mikal Bridges is a great defender, but offense, if you're going to be on the court for 20, 30 plus minutes a night, I got to see more than 5 points out of you. And I don't know why everyone is getting upset at Stephen A. Smith for saying this, but this Bridges trade is going to hurt the Knicks. And he's not wrong to say that they're not contenders. They have played very unserious basketball in this past week or so. They went down by 20 to the Santa Clara Warriors. They had 8 of their rotation guys out. I just don't understand. I mean, I know they won the game and everyone says a win is a win. Not in my book. A win is not a win in my book. If you can't dominate a team like the Warriors that is literally playing a bunch of two-way guys and 8 of their whole starting lineup is out, and you go down by 20 in the first half, what type of basketball is that? Like, that's just unserious. It's unserious, and I feel like the Knicks, they just start too slow, and come playoff time, this is gonna hurt them. It's not good.
It's pretty crazy too, because after the All-Star break, like that 2-3 week stretch, the Knicks have been one of the better defensive teams in the league. Like they had their points per game down, they had their defensive efficiency, like everything was great. Like they're one of the best defensive teams in the league as of late, but they still look terrible. I mean, it literally makes no sense because the numbers are way better, but now it's like the offense is lacking. They're not finding any sort of rhythm. I mean, even they were one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the league to start the year. Feels like time and time again, that's holding them back, or they're not shooting well. And I don't know. It's been a very up and down year for the Knicks. I saw Josh Hart dropped a career high last night.
Yeah, 33 points.
Yeah,
there was no
nuts.
Brunson.
Well, I mean, no Brunson, but even so, I mean, to get 33 out of Josh Hart is pretty
It's 5
pretty
for 5
wild.
from 3.
Yeah, I don't know. But listen, that you talk about lack of production from Mikal. Maybe that's what you need. You need a spark from Hart. If he's hitting shots like he has been, that'd be huge for the Knicks because you need a little bit more than just defense. Something that did maybe make you actually happy though, you got to witness some Arsenal soccer over there.
Absolute scenes at the Emirates. I can't believe. In my first Prem match, I've been dreaming of being able to go to a Premier League game and, get out to the Emirates and watch Arsenal play since I was a little kid. I've got family, huge Arsenal fans. They're a London team. They're from North London. It almost kind of feels like the Knicks. They haven't won the league in 20 years. The Knicks haven't won since my dad was a child. So, and as a Big Six club, what I got to witness this past weekend, I could not believe it. First of all, Arsenal, top of the Prem table. They had I believe it was a 6-point lead versus Manchester City. They are tied with Everton going into the 89th minute. And we see the Emirates just light up after Gyökeres scores. And that place was so loud. I mean, we've gone to Penn State whiteouts. We've gone to Yankee playoff games. We've gone to Knicks playoff games. Those are some of the loudest environments in all of sports. I truly understand now why soccer fans are the way they are and why they talk about soccer the way they do. I've experienced MLS games. It doesn't compare. Just being able to sit there and people, I mean, the way people talk to the players on the pitch and the way they just pour their emotion out, the way they sing together, listening to them sing North London Forever at the beginning of the game was just amazing, man. And then to tie it all together, I got to witness the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history, Max Dowman. I just truly scenes. And I love it. I love soccer. Can't wait for the World Cup, but I can't wait to see, Arsenal pull this off and finally be at the top of the Premier League once again. And it's been 2 decades. I mean, soccer is just, it's one of one. Everyone, if you have the privilege and the ability to go out there to the UK and get to a Premier League game, you have to do it for yourself. 45 minutes, no commercials. You watch the game, a little 15-minute halftime, you watch the game, you're in and out. It's amazing. You're not sitting around, waiting around, everyone's standing for the whole 90 minutes. It was amazing, man. I could talk about this for the next 3 days.
Yeah, I gotta go witness one of those games. I mean, like you said, we've been to some crazy sports environments, but I mean, you watch it on TV, it really does look unmatched. That video that you sent was insane. I mean, I don't know it's a contagious, cheer and feeling. And even if you're not, you don't love soccer, you just love the fandom. That's something that everybody can relate to. Nonetheless, I think my pick for Champions League just got bounced actually as we speak. I think Tottenham just lost 7-5 aggregate. So let's go, baby. But Arsenal still looking good. But how was the rest of your trip? Obviously, you went overseas, Barca, London. How was the rest of the trip?
Man,
elite, huh?
Europe is something different. It really is. Oh yeah,
without a doubt.
It really is. Food was great. Got to try some paella.
How'd you like paella?
I loved it. Mm-hmm. I grew up on rice, but paella, so flavorful. Loved it.
Barcelona doesn't feel real when you go.
It literally does not.
Mm-hmm.
It actually
it's a crazy
does not.
City.
I was talking about that with my family. Barcelona, it feels like you're in a movie.
It does, yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. You're walking around. The city's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There's no skyscrapers. Everything looks like you literally feel like you're in a movie. I don't know. It's so walkable. There's not a single bit of garbage on the floor. I don't even know. I loved it. I got to go back. I need to get out to a Barcelona match. Skirt, we're going. We're going to make it happen. But Jesus, man, I loved it. And in the UK feels like, it kind of feels like New York with nicer people. Nicer people, way cleaner. You don't get all the smells of marijuana everywhere. But honestly, I got to get back out there. You know, I think I want to go to Italy. I want to go to France,
It'll change your life.
Greece. Like I will say this, like, I don't even know. If you've never been to Europe, I don't know if I can argue with you. You haven't seen enough. That's how I feel about it. Like,
Yeah, no, you go to Europe for the first time, it'll change your life. Especially you go to Italy. You go to Italy, you don't want to come back. It's as simple as that. Italy, don't listen to anybody that tells you it's overrated. Or Europe as a whole. You're gonna have a blast. It's just just a change of pace. People, you know, they live their life out there. They're not just, you know, just a puppet to the society that we got going on over here where you're miserable from work. But hey, man, Europe's a really cool time.
Yeah, I'm walking around and it's like...
Any clubbing in Barca?
Definitely. Me and my brother, we went to Speakeasy. The nightlife was great. We actually were in an Irish pub when Lamine scored that game tying penalty versus Newcastle last week. When that was just, again, scenes. Like the passion that these people have for their sports teams, it's like the passion you see in like
SEC.
Yeah, I was gonna say SEC or no, yeah, that's a great comparison. But yeah, you got to go back out to the West Coast, right? Well, some sun, some warmth, a lot of warmth. So
yeah, no, I mean you can't tell the lights are too bright. I did actually get a tan. I'm not as pale as everybody, may probably think I am seeing these videos, but no, it was a great time. Got to play first round of golf of the year, which is always just an amazing feeling. Just being out there. I didn't care if I played the worst round of my life. It was just truly incredible. Went to some great restaurants. Got to, just be in the sun. I feel rejuvenated. I really do. I just feel like I feel like a real person again. I really do. But that's what the sun and some golf and, just having some fun with friends. That's what it'll do to you. Just make you feel real again.
Drake P&D track 17.
All right.
But
no, I mean, it's just a great time nonetheless. So we need some more warm weather back home. I got to keep this golf train going. So I got the complete golf itch out here. But
I can't wait, man.
No, it's good. It's good to be back, though. It's good to be back. A lot of traveling for both of us recently. So now it's time to, dial in on March Madness, dial in on the pod, get, more episodes out for sure. But I think that kind of wraps it up for today's episode. Unless you got anything else, James?
No, nothing for me. Actually, one last thing. I was watching a video. It was actually Mike Tyson. He's an animal. I don't even know how to, I don't know. You kind of spoke about Dan Hurley and how you got to be a little bit crazy to, to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And in this video, I don't even know how to explain. This dude is literally one of one.
Well, he's full blown psychotic.
Yeah.
It's a whole different story.
I'm watching this video and he's just talking about if he wasn't a boxer. I think it's on Cameron and Mace's podcast. He said, if I wasn't a boxer, I'd be a criminal.
Well, that's see that he might take it to another level. I don't know.
But this is what I mean. Like, there's a certain level of crazy, and he might be, like Rob said, like at another level. But I was watching this video. You see his face, and he's literally like he's just stone. He's being so serious. It was hilarious to me, but it got real really quickly when you see he's not laughing with the rest.
Yeah, no.
So it made me think, crazy. Dan Hurley. So.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it in March. Gotta have a little craziness in you come March. And tournament coming up. Tournament starts tomorrow, round of 64. It'll be a very exciting tournament, very exciting few days, weeks. We'll be tuned in. Podcast episodes will be firing out on all cylinders over the next few weeks. So stay tuned. We appreciate you guys for watching. I'm Rob Cardini, James Martin III. Happy birthday to our producer, Oscar.
Yes, sir.
Shout out our producer.
Oscar.
Thank you all for watching. Go Huskies.
Peace.